Hey, this is Mark Andrews, and welcome to episode 3 of OCFOA Plays of the Week. This episode is going to cover blocks, low blocks, free blocking zone, maybe some blocks in the back. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. And we're also going to talk about hurdling and whatever else comes up during the week that I'm making this thing. So bear with me. I hope you enjoy it. So let's start off our conversation on low blocks with the exception to the low block foul, which is a block that occurs within the free blocking zone. You see a picture of it right here. Now let's bring up the rule and discuss it. You might recall in episode 2 we discussed blocks below the waist with regard to a defender or a player whose feet were off the ground. And we determined that a block below the waist when both feet are off the ground is legal. Here's the rule again. It's Rule 2, Article 7, and it says blocking below the waist is making initial contact below the waist from the front or side against an opponent other than a runner. Contact with an opponent's hands below the waist that continues into the body below the waist is considered blocking below the waist. Blocking below the waist applies only when the opponent has one or both feet on the ground. Going further into the rule book, we'll see that blocking below the waist is also discussed in Rule 9, Section 3, Article 2. And it says, a player shall not block an opponent below the waist except in the free blocking zone when the contact meets the requirements of Rule 2-17, we'll discuss that in a minute, or when the purpose of the low block is to tackle a runner or player pretending to be a runner. Let's discuss Part B there just for a second. So basically, it's saying that, of course, a runner can be tackled below the waist with no foul, or if it's reasonable to consider that the defender thought that the player was the runner and tackles him below the waist, we are not going to call a foul on that either. So let's go back to Part A there and talk about the requirements of Rule 217. Now, 217 is one of the most interesting rules in the rule book. I mean, look at the title of this thing. The free blocking zone, legal blocking below the waist, legal clipping, legal block in the back. I got to tell you, when I first heard about this, I said, whoa, what are they talking about? Legal clipping? But it's true. There is a zone, and we're going to talk about it, and it's right there in Article 1. The free blocking zone is a rectangular area extending laterally 4 yards either side of the spot of the snap and 3 yards behind each line of scrimmage. A player is in the free blocking zone when any part of his body is in the zone at the snap. So now we know the dimensions of the free blocking zone. Let's talk about the requirements for that block below the waist to remain legal even in the free blocking zone. This is covered in Rule 2, Section 17, Article 2. Blocking below the waist is permitted in the free blocking zone when the following conditions are met. A. All players involved in the blocking are on the line of scrimmage and in the zone at the snap. That means that everyone, the guy committing the block and the player being blocked, have to be in the zone at the snap. Part B says that contact he cannot has to also occur in the zone legally to be legal. Same's true for a wide receiver. There is one additional requirement, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But I want to cover the other two types of blocks that can occur in the free blocking zone, which are clips and blocks in the back. They have an additional requirement. Clipping and blocks in the back are permitted in the free blocking zone when the following conditions are met. A. By offensive linemen who are on the line of scrimmage and in the zone at the snap. In other words, defensive linemen cannot commit these fouls legally. B. Against defensive players who are on the line of scrimmage and in the zone at the snap. Now, this is a really important distinction because you could have players that are either on the line of scrimmage are in the free blocking zone that cannot commit these illegal blocks. An example would be a linebacker who is in the zone but not on the line of scrimmage. He could not be blocked below the waist, blocked in the back, or clipped legally. A wide receiver that was on the line of scrimmage but outside of the free blocking zone could not legally commit any of these blocks either. And of course we have the requirement that all these blocks have, that the contact has to occur inside the free blocking zone. So now we come to the last requirement for that otherwise illegal block to be legal. That's Article 5 in Rule 2, Section 17. The free blocking zone disintegrates, and the exception for a player to block below the waist, or the exception for an offensive lineman to clip and or block in the back, is not to continue after the ball has left the zone. Oh, brother. So, the players have to be in the zone, both the ones that are committing the block and the ones being blocked. And the ball has to be in the zone, and the contact has to be in the zone. So you can see that this exception really only applies at the snap. The exception to that would be a quarterback keeper or a real tight bunch formation where the ball stays close to the line. Other than that, as soon as that ball leaves the free blocking zone, the exception is off and those fouls can no longer be committed legally. So what happens when the quarterback is in shotgun formation or pistol? The ball leaves that blocking zone in a split second, probably less than a half a second. Well, NFHS has determined that blocks below the waist that occur simultaneous with the snap and from a 3-point stance or a 4-point stance is legal. There cannot be any type of pause. In other words, the lineman could not come up from the 3-point or 4-point stance and then go down and block below the waist legally. You'll notice I've emphasized 3- and 4-point stances. That means when the team is in a shotgun formation, a blocker cannot block legally below the waist from a 2-point stance. So you've been staring at this particular snapshot for about 5 minutes now. You're probably wondering when the heck I'm going to get to some actual action here. So let's take a look at this clip. Take a look at the formation first. This is a shotgun, so this is basically a situation where the low block has to occur simultaneous with the snap. You'll see a defensive end on the right side there circled. He's going to commit the block against the B player that has the arrow pointed at him. Let's just let this run. There you go. Let's back up. Let's take it in slow motion. Okay, watch the block. It's below the waist. It's simultaneous with the snap. It's legal. This next play was sent in by a coach claiming that we had missed a block below the waist. So I want you to take a look at it. I'm going to run it in real time and then freeze it. Okay, the player highlighted is the one that's accused of committing the illegal block. There's the initiation of the block, and you can see that it's at the waist and above. This is not illegal. This is perfectly legal, and we don't want to throw a flag on this one. Now, had the offensive player continued down below with the block, it would still be legal because we judge blocks below the waist based on where the initial contact is, not the subsequent contact. Now, the coach also wanted holding. Now you can see the defender's hand wrapped around the thigh for a very short time. This is not holding. He lets him go, pushes off. This is a legal play. So these next two plays are interesting in that they both involve the same team. It's the same game, and it's actually the same defensive play. You'll see the linebacker that's highlighted blocked both legally and illegally in the subsequent play. So let's go over why this is legal. Going to just push it up. So what's the requirement for a legal block below the waist in the free blocking zone? We've got blocking below the waist is permitted in the free blocking zone when the following conditions are met. All players involved in the blocking are on the line of scrimmage and in the zone at the snap. So while he started out as a linebacker and obviously not on the line of scrimmage, he's moved up. He's on the line of scrimmage. So he's met the first, we have the first requirement met. The second requirement is that the contact is in the zone. We'll see that in just a moment. And the third requirement is that the ball be in the zone. And as we talked about before, NFHS has given us guidelines that say a block below the waist that is simultaneous with the snap is legal. So let's take a look and see if we've got all those things. There's the block below the waist. It was simultaneous with the snap. It's in the zone. He was on the line of scrimmage. This is a legal block. No flag should be thrown for that particular block. So this is the illegal block. It involves the same teams. This is the same game, and I believe that's the same player. That linebacker that's highlighted, that's B30. You can see that he's clearly not on the line of scrimmage. So he doesn't meet the requirement to be blocked legally below the waist. I'm going to take it slow. There's the snap. He is clearly still off the line of scrimmage. So if he's now blocked below the waist, this is a foul. Okay, there's the block right there. It's below the waist. That's a foul. A flag should have been thrown in this particular play. So I'm going to end this here. This will be part 1 of episode 3. I'm going to produce part 2 here presently. We will continue to talk about illegal blocks. We'll also talk about hurdling and helmet contact, illegal helmet contact. So look for that in part 2. Like all the OCFOA plays of the week, the rules interpretations, opinions, and citations have been reviewed by the OCFOA instructional chairman and approved.